The Clippers have signed Russell Westbrook. And so how exactly will he fit in this Clippers offense? And since most of the time he's going to be playing that lead guard role, being in place of Terrence Mann over here, or in this other cases, Bones Hyland, we're going to see how he affects the offense. And so we're going to really just watch the two of them. And so kind of replace Mann with what Westbrook would be. In situations like this whole lane would be plugged up. This role wouldn't be there because you know how teams guard Westbrook. They don't play him honest at all. They plug up the lanes. They sag off. But there's still also some good to it. And I'm going to get to that a little later. And now if you're going to replace Westbrook with Terrence Mann in the starting lineup or in closing lineups, just know you're going to miss out on a little bit of three-point shooting. Mann, 39% of three-point shooter on 2.5 attempts per game. Meaning he's going to take the right ones and he's going to be able to knock down most of them. And he's been great this year if you've peeped the Clippers. And he's been on a great stretch this season. Mind you, like I said, the shooting is going to be lacking. It's going to be lacking if you have Russ in the situation off the ball. But there's still ways you could make use of Westbrook off the ball. But we're going to get to that a little later too. Boom. Lane plugged up for Plumlee too. Lane right there for Plumlee will be plugged up. They're just going to sag off, especially when it comes to the playoffs. They're just going to never play him honest. And so that's how it's going to be. But there's still ways that Westbrook will be able to make use of this Clippers offense, which would be situations like this. And now, this strikingly differs from the Lakers team because although he was on the Lakers, it was like, oh, Russ can't shoot, Russ can't shoot. It wasn't just Russ who couldn't shoot. It was the whole team who couldn't shoot. So it was when Russ caught the ball, he couldn't swing one more to somebody else who could shoot. They're not playing any of them honest. So now you got three other defenders, maybe two other defenders, packing the paint in with other guys who just can't shoot. Whereas if Russ is in this situation like this right here, where he's off the ball, say PG makes a play, he could swing to his right, to his left, to anybody on the perimeter else, because the Clippers got shooters. They got shooters. Eric Gordon, 40% three-point shooter, still knocking shots down. Batum is going to knock shots down as well. Kawhi, PG, they're going to knock shots. Norman Powell, all those guys are going to be able to knock down shots. And so that's a huge difference from the Lakers. And now defensively, it's also where I feel Bones Hyland may get himself kicked out the lineup because the Clippers are built on defense. They're built on their defense. They're not going to try to outscore a team strictly off their offense, off their pace and whatnot. They're going to try to get enough stops and then also on the offensive end just be able to outscore you offensively. Since their team is heavily reliant on their defense, and Bones Hyland, when he's in the game, he's a defensive liability. Russ being in the game, that's a difference maker because in situations like this, you can just switch this. You don't have to show and get back. Now, Damian Lee misses this, but it's still a good look at it at the end of the day. And if you're playing really good teams, especially in the playoffs, that's a great look. You can't really be able to give those up. Now, this to mention, situations like this, if you got Westbrook as a lead guard, just won't happen. Now, Westbrook be fucking up sometimes, yes. And by the way, make sure you subscribe, like, and turn on notifications because we dropping breakdowns daily. And our first live stream is going to be on Friday, the 24th at 7 Eastern time. So make sure you go hit that link in the description. Go follow. Let's get right back to it. The Clippers be having some sloppy, goofy plays a lot. And it's just because I feel like they just get mixed up. Like they don't really, no one's really the presence on the court to be able to be the initiator, the leader, the on-court, the person to tell everybody where they need to be and whatnot. So in situations like this, you got Russ, who's been a point guard his whole career. Every time he's played, high school, college, NBA, all these years in the NBA. Plays like this just don't happen. There's a possession before this where they had a situation where they just threw the ball in, nobody picked it up, they got a turnover. Russ just not letting that happen. Russ is just not going to let that happen. They don't have no real point guards, no established player to tell everybody where they need to be able to control the pace, stop plays like that. So, Russ is going to be a huge help. And especially the Kawhi and PG, I think that may be the biggest difference maker. Because this season, Kawhi and PG, they're used to how much they have to create shots and also play make because they have no point guard. They have to do so much on the offensive end, but they're not really playmakers. And so a lot of possessions, you're going to see Kawhi and PG have to go through multiple actions to be able to not just get themselves shots, be able to get their teammate shots. PG comes off a down screens, comes up, gets another pick and roll. It's a lot of things to do in a full game, the whole season. That's a lot of work to do. boom, like I said, man is to be able to knock down shots, and he's been playing great as of lately. And this is the time where he should be able to pick up because you're getting closer to the playoffs. But in this exact situation, Russ could get it and he could attack, of course. But it's about honesty. How are they going to play you in the half court? And this is how they're going to end up playing man in the half court opposed to Westbrook. Because even if Westbrook hits 2-3 straight threes, they probably still won't play him honest. Whereas a guy like man, you know he can knock down shots. And if he knocks down one, he's knocked down a couple. Or he hasn't even knocked some down at all. The defense doesn't commit all the way out. They don't stay all the way in that help. And now if you got Russ here, you're gonna see plays like this times 4. Mason Plumlee's gonna love it. Zubac is gonna love it. Kawhi and PG are gonna love it because they don't have to do so much trying to score. For Zubac and Plumlee, they get a lot of easy buckets. Russ attacks, he drops it off. He's been doing that his whole career. And I'm telling you, you see, the thing is, all that man does as the point guard is he brings it up, gives it up to Kawhi and PG, then Kawhi and PG do the work from there. They have to create the shots, they have to play make, they have to find open players, they have to do all those things within the half court. But you got Russ, he's going to be the guy to get into the paint, dish it out, and make these shots for Kawhi and PG a little easier. You don't have to worry about Kawhi and PG trying to be playmakers and shot creators because that's not their game. You see them when they play the best, they always have a point guard right next to them. Now like PG, he's getting picked up full court, has to get into pick and rolls, has to find his teammates, has to find his own shot. It's a lot of work to do. It's a lot of work to do, especially playing 36 minutes a night, 82 games a season, playoffs on top of that. So it's just a lot of work. And then right here, this is where Russ can still be effective playing off the ball. Is that since you do have shooters, there's going to be players who commit to other players. But in situations like this where you say you're shuffling up, you can just catch and attack. You see a lane and you go. Instead of trying to settle for that 3 and do that same thing you always do where you catch it, you pump fake, you take one dribble and get into a size ups. No, just catch and attack, go downhill. And if they come in, you got shooters on the outside now, which you didn't have with the Lakers. And now you also got a big man down low near that block. It's a huge difference maker. And boom, Russ, another help in situations like this. You see the Clippers waste a ton of possessions. A ton of possessions like this. You see how quick that shot clock just went by? They got 3 seconds left. You see how quick that shot clock just went by? Come on. Let's look at it again. Come on. Brings the ball up. PG tells his man to go to the other side because he's not sure how to initiate and how to run the play. Russ, you don't have to worry about that. Russ knows how to be the point guard. He knows the counters to play. He knows where to go. You don't have to worry about that. But notice, 8 seconds off the clock right here. Boom, 8 seconds off. That's a third of the shot clock. These seconds are valuable. You still haven't gotten to any sets. Mind you, still in those sets. Finally gets into a set, 13 seconds left on the shot clock. That's 11 seconds gone off. Half the shot clock damn near gone because man doesn't know exactly how to initiate the play. Now, no knock to man. It's just not really his game. He's not a point guard, so he's not going to do things like this. He's not a natural point guard. So you're kind of telling him to do something that's uncharacteristic of him. But ultimately, he's able to get downhill, but still, that's a lot of time left, and you're only able to get one drive.
You know, they put a button on.
Hey, listen.
Like Kevin Durant. Here's the thing I think makes it work a little bit easier. And I'll hit it because that's a tease going to commercial, so I'll be able to hit it on the backside.
Why? Where does that come from? Where does that come, bro?
Durant.
Where does that come from, bro?
Makes it work a little bit easier. And I'll hit it because that's a tease going to commercial, so I'll be able to hit it on the backside.
Bro, where does that come from, bro? Why does that come straight to your brain as soon as you're going to do an intro doing the commercial break? Commentators out of hand, bro. I'm catching them every single time. I will not stop. Going right back to this, though. Russ, he's going to have situations like this. He has shooters next to him. So it's not even about how hard will they close out to man. It's about how hard will they also commit to his other teammates because PG's a shooter. And they don't want him to swing this one more. Whereas if you just went straight out to say Westbrook in this situation, if this is Westbrook, you go straight out to him, close him out squared. This pass is getting swung one more. It's going to be a shot. Now I see Book coming over, but that's a late close. That should be a knockdown for PG. If not, pump fake, fly by, reload. You see, he got shooters next to him. It's a huge difference. Lakers, ain't none of that. Now, we've seen this little shake up from the wing 2 times now, from the wing to the top of the key, right? We've seen this twice. Shake up from the wing. Last time, PG threw it right back to him, man ripped downhill. But now, if you're rusting this in this offense, this is a shot you should look to work on. A shot you should look to get a lot of reps on. Because if you're going to be playing off the ball, and Kawhi and PG still going to get their pick and rolls. So you got to find a way to still be suitable and still be compatible with those players on the court so you don't get taken off. So if you get into the gym, shake-ups from the wing to the top, spot up corner threes if you're playing the corner on the pick and roll, but we're going to get to that a little later. But this is a shot he could really work on. And if he can knock it down, top of the key, a lot of players like the top of the key because it's straight on. It just depends who you are as a shooter. And if that's the case for Russ, he likes that top of the key. Shake-ups from the wing to the top. If you can knock down 35% of that, hey, and you're getting free open looks. Nobody's doing anything. Let's look at this right quick here. Again, Pete Zubac. Great way to play the drop. You don't see players play the drop that good often. Now, you know, they know what they need to do, but sometimes it's just hard to actually play it good. But notice Zubac's drop. How he drops and opens up his stance to be able to make a play on that ball. That's the problem with most bigs because they can't do that. They can't do it quick enough a lot of times, repeatedly, consistently. So the problem would be is that bigs just simply don't work on their agility, their ability to be from one stance, open up, shift, and continue to still be moving at a good speed to be able to do what you need to do. Zubac in this case does it great. Does he do it every time? No. But you got to be able to, bigs need to have some sort of agility work so they could be able to make these plays consistently throughout the season and not get caught lacking all the time, letting players throw lobs over their head, getting dunked on, getting scored on all and whatnot. So it's key if you're a big man that you need to get some agility working just to be able to change directions, change stances, and still be able to control your weight and how you're moving.
He keeps his body in between he and DeAndre Ayton, which allowed him to deflect that pass.
Now, going back to these pick and rolls. Now, if they are in this pick and roll, now you have a choice. Where do you want to place Russ? Do you want to place Russ on this wing over here where Kawhi is? Do you want to place him in this corner where Man is, who you may be in the game for? So that's your question. It shouldn't be on the side of the roll because if it's on the side of the roll, then they could be able to pinch in if it's in this set, in this spacing right here. Where do you want to place him? I would say at least it should always be the corner. Regardless if if the rolls come into his side, there's 2 on that side. I'm gonna show you an example of that later. Regardless if the ball handlers come into that side, there's 2. Because if you put Russ at this wing, PG is not gonna be able to get anywhere into the paint. He's not gonna be able to penetrate at all. Pause. Because as soon as he gets this, Craig's not leaving that midline. He's sitting and Ayton's covering that other side. So he's gonna be able to get nowhere. And so how should he play that corner? I'm going to show you that in a few more plays. Give me a sec. Hey, I'm telling you, man got the shot, but it's not about will Russ be able to make open threes. It's about how many threes will Russ be able to generate. How many open good look threes will he be able to make for his teammates? Because if he could overcome that amount that he's passing up or that man would take and he would make by getting his teammates open looks, high percentage looks, then that doesn't matter. That does not matter because he's generating the same amount of threes, the same amount of high percentage looks for his teammates. He's just not the one taking them. So if he could be able to make that plus minus between that a plus in terms of he's generating more than he's passing up than man would take, then there's no problem with it. Absolutely no problem with the shooting because the Clippers have no players really besides Kawhi and PG who could get it to the paint and make a play and help somebody get an open 3. But Russ, he could do that. Now going back to Bones. Another reason why he may just find himself on the bench for a little while. It's just his defense. It's not much different from the Nuggets because with the Nuggets, he got benched because he couldn't play. He wasn't a good defender. And on top of that, both these teams are competing. So with Bones, I'm still high on Bones. I'm still high on his skill, his potential. But for him to be the best player he possibly could be, he needs to be on a rebuilding team or a team that's not so established and he could come in there and he's free to make mistakes. But he can't make mistakes He's on a competing team. He just can't. Because so any mistake that he makes, it's going to hold heavy weight. It's going to hold a lot of weight. So they're going to look at it and be like, damn, we really just can't play him because every possession matters. You're a competing team. Each possession matters. You're going to find yourself in a lot of close games. But if you lose a game by, say, 1 point, 2 points, that's the difference between being able to get a stop on the play that you have somebody in the game that they can't play defense. It's a huge difference maker. Now, if Bones finds himself on a team that's rebuilding, not as established, not so contending, I feel like the sky's the limit for him, for sure. But it's hard for him to find a place on this Clippers team because they're a defensive team, but defense is a liability. So it's kind of tough. And now, mind you, great plays right here. Great play by hands by Eric Gordon. Boom, missed Plumlee. Took it himself. All right, if you're gonna make it, take it. But he missed it. So now, like I was saying, this is piling up. This is adding up. And now they're beginning to question his decision making and how he plays. And they brought Russ in, and now it's just like, damn, he may just not find himself in the game much. He just may not find himself in the game much. He could have threw this to Plumlee. Plumlee would be able to finish this off. But take it all the way, and now it's like, damn, you should have just given that up. You missed out on 2 points. Like I said, 2 points is a huge difference maker too. Hey, bro, I will forever and always say this. Pace is key. Pace is key. Look at Eric Gordon, bro. Look at Eric Gordon. He just walked the same speed that a grandma does at a 5K. Bro, look. Watch this. You don't need to go fast to get past defense. The defense goes at your pace as long as you're controlled. If you let the defense get to you, if you let their pressure get to you, then they're gonna influence how fast you're going and how fast you need to be able to make reads, get downhill, and whatnot. But if you're controlled, the game is at your speed. It's at your speed. It's in your hands. So why do you keep going so fast all the time? Why do you keep sprinting downhill? You don't need to sprint to get by somebody. Basketball is a skill game. And on top of that, if you're sprinting to get past somebody as fast as you can, you're already setting yourself up for failure because you're not going to be able to make the reads once you get downhill. So what are you doing? Really don't make sense. It really don't make sense. I keep saying this, but even if you've heard me say it tens of thousands of times already, there's going to be somebody new who hear this. So, and then boom. Another thing about having Bones, is that even though they ain't get much off of this, you'll live with this step back by Damian Lee. It leaves your defense vulnerable. It leaves you vulnerable because now that you switch Bones, you sent this double. A lot of times teams will be able to capitalize on this because it puts you in rotation. But in this situation, Suns are that great at it. Space is just a little off to find it and whatnot. But hey, this is going to leave them vulnerable. Now, this is what we know Bones could do. Bones could score. He can make a lot of shots. He's a great shot maker. But the thing is, if you're going to make shots, you also got to get stops. And if you're making shots and not going back and getting stops, at that point, you're just trading buckets. And now you're at a negative because he just dropped 2. And now he comes back on the other end, literally the next play. Makes a mistake he gambles on D-Book. It's his fault that he gambles on D-Book. And now that since he gambled on D-Book, he's late on rotation, they knock down the 3. So now you're at a -1. You got to keep that plus-minus high. You got to keep it high. Now since he gambled on this play by D-Book, all you needed to do was just hold him in front until Batum would be able to get back in front and have a good angle. Then you just continue to rotate over. But now, you got him in rotation. And now they get an open 3. Okogie's not a 3-point shooter, but he's been having it going lately. Then boom, another mistake. These mistakes holding weight. I'm telling you, straight off these couple plays alone, those last plays, he was a -1. And now boom, Okogie's knocking it down. Now you had a -4. And now they just looking at all your decisions. It's like, man, we got Russ coming in. We just forget about that. He could just learn and practice and whatnot. So the thing about Bones is if he's going to be on a competitive team, he has to learn how to play defense smart. And then as you're going to see his offensive game begin to bud because now he's getting more opportunity to be on the court. But I think Russ may be even better. Hey, now, once again, about bigs, Pete Zubac. Hey, the only times this happens is when you start thinking of your reads prematurely. You premeditate your reads. You start thinking too early about what you're about to do. So now you forget to even catch the ball. And you're thinking about the reads before you even got the ball, but you can't even make the reads if you don't got the ball. You're going to turn the ball over, just like you did right here. So you always got to make sure you stay calm, relaxed, present. Don't try to be antsy. Don't try to think you're like one step ahead in the moment. You've got to be one step ahead in your preparation. And then once you get to the moment, then you're going to be one step ahead. But if you try to think too early about what you got to do, it's just not going to work. Another thing, man. Bigs are so gullible. Big men are so gullible. All it takes is pace sometimes. Just that little pace. Because like I said, bigs are not agile. They're not good at changing their weight. They're not good at stopping and going. They're not good at going from left to right. So the second that you do any of those things, boom, and you got that quick first step, they got that slow first step, you're gone. You already passed them. That's the thing with bigs. But if you're a big now, you got to make that counter to it and start beginning to work on your agility. As if you are a guard. And boom, this is how Russ could be effective in these pick and rolls when he's staying in the corner. Now, last time it was a little different because the roll was coming to the sideline, but this time it's coming to the middle. But regardless, this is how he can still be effective because you got two shooters on his side. So there's going to be one player who's not going to want to leave the player at the wing. And there's going to be and then that one player is also trying to play too because the player had to step up on the roll. And if they are hard showing, like Ayton does here. So he could come up from that baseline. If they drop all the way, boom, quiet with the open three. If not, drop down right here to Russ coming on this baseline. Pause. And then another way is that, yeah, CP3 blew it, man, and that's just game. That's the end of this video. Make sure you subscribe, like, turn on those notifications. We got breakdowns dropping daily. Make sure you go hit that link in the description. Live streams coming soon. Discord dropping soon. Live stream on Friday, by the way, so make sure you in tune for that. And we out of here.